Welcome back to the Wizard Weekly, where we talk about everything in gaming. There has been more leaks in these past 2 weeks for Nintendo than there is in an abandoned building with bad drainage pipes, and unfortunately, our favorite plumbers of Mario and Luigi just cannot save us. And I can only imagine that the business and promotional teams of Nintendo are just having the worst time of their life seeing everything that's been popping up on the internet. But for me, I've been enjoying myself talking about every, new speculation and headline that's been popping up on my timelines for the past 2 weeks. And, if you haven't already, just check out like my last 5 videos. I've talked about every major development. And today, let's go ahead and add another chapter to that lore of shit that I've seen on the internet that may or may not be true. So as per credible leaker and known insider that has a good track record of revealing things ahead of time in gaming, 𝐂𝐃𝐒 on his podcast recently, he revealed that this week, January 14th is the current date, but apparently on January 16th, 2 days from now, the Nintendo Switch 2 will finally be revealed. Again, we've had many reports like this in the past. I remember the most distinctive one was the one from October of 2024. That didn't happen, but we do know from Nintendo themselves that the Nintendo Switch 2 will be revealed by the end of this fiscal year, which is towards the end of March 2025. So it is pretty likely that, if not even on the 16th, sometime this month, we will get a review for the Switch 2. The way Nintendo usually does their whole rollout, or at least how they did it for the original Nintendo Switch back in 2016, is they reviewed it in the first month, then a couple months later, they showed all the pricing, all the details and having a whole showcase, and then, obviously a couple months later, you get your new device that turns your old one into your next TV stand's dust collector. And analysts are speculating that by summer of 2025 of this year is when we finally get the Switch 2, in hand. And honestly, that's what I'm hoping for. Now, there are talks of delays and whatnot, and just, production being pushed back because, that does happen. We've seen it happen a lot, especially lately. But I am pretty confident in 𝐂𝐃𝐒's insight here that we do get a reveal at least pretty soon, and obviously us getting the Switch 2 later in the summer. But hey man, I'm not gonna leave you just with that. Like those packing titles on Nintendo Switch that have 2 games in one, I have 2 bits of Nintendo leaks to show you in today's video. So remember a couple of months ago when Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack members got access to a playtest program, to which they showed off videos. I can't even show you the actual gameplay, but this mass online sandbox Minecraft-esque title where the whole objective is to build out an entire node and be able to travel through a whole planet of nodes and just interact with the world and build and everything. Yeah, that build of the playtest has been leaked in these last couple of days. Now, according to the internet and people that know more about this than I do, the playtest as of right now isn't playable on any emulator that you might use for any of your other Nintendo Switch games on PC and whatnot. But I'm sure that's subject to change in the meanwhile, and somehow we'll be able to get more exclusive footage of this playtest than we were when it was actually live by Nintendo. But the file itself is apparently 1.84 gigabytes and the soundtrack is 1.9. Now, back when I did talk about the playtest when it was live by Nintendo, the person that I was following on Blue Sky that actually had footage and gameplay of it, they claimed that the soundtrack was actually really amazing. So I'm guessing they're priming this game to add more soundtracks to the Nintendo Music app later on. But yeah, the leaks don't stop, and I doubt that it's going to stop anytime soon. Hopefully we do get the Nintendo Switch reveal this week, but we'll see. Moving on, I understand that we're going off to bigger and better things in gaming, and there's no point in speculating on things in the past too much, but I just wanted to briefly talk about Bethesda's development decisions because they still have a big hand in games that people are really excited for in the future, including myself. And talking about the mixed reviewed game of Starfield from 2023, the former character artist that used to work at Bethesda for I think over 12 years, they said, Dennis, as a wizard, I respectfully declined to even attempt this witchcraft. Dennis M., who worked on Starfield, claimed that there was supposed to be a gore system in Starfield, but it was unfortunately removed. Now, before you tune out, I understand that Starfield as a game, having like a VAT system from Fallout where you could just target individual body parts and have the most exploding Mortal Kombat fatality kills imaginable, that's going to be far from what would save the game. Now, from a technical standpoint, Dennis M. claims that not having a gore system was due to most of the characters that you fight, like the enemies being in spacesuits, so that whole designing would just take a lot of time, especially trying to dismember parts coming out of a spacesuit. Like that would take a while. But he also compares this title to other Bethesda games like Fallout, to which he claims that that title, the humor is really in the gore. Like Fallout takes the combat a little less serious, which is why, you know, VATS works in those games. But here they thought that, you know, Starfield should be a little bit more realistic, at least as realistic as fighting space monsters and freaking constellation enhanced humans could be in a video game, like a sci-fi video game at least. But still, I understand the modern perspective that they were trying to go with in Starfield. But like you've probably already heard before 1,000 times, I just think that Starfield's biggest issue was the fact that it was hindered by a game engine that should have long been, you know, done away with, or at least expanded upon in a major way, and just damn near reworked from the ground up. Like, it just felt like a clunky Skyrim in space that just didn't warrant the new innovation that they claimed it was going to be. You know, all the 1,000 planets, all that promo that they had, making people really excited for this title. I did enjoy it because I do love Bethesda RPG titles, but I just don't think that it warrants the price tag that they charged for it. I didn't pay that. I got it on Game Pass, or really the time of any gamer that's played through Bethesda's previous titles and just wanted something different out of Starfield. Once again, moving on, one of the most respected and well-known figures in gaming development, Hideo Kojima, he recently made a tweet that's been worrying the die-hard Kojima fans and early Konami fans that grew up with the Metal Gear series, at least around Hideo's health, because in this tweet he claims that right now in his stage of game development, he's been in crunch mode, at least, you know, with his team. And if you don't already know, crunch time in game development at least is what it sounds like, you know, just a bunch of forced development and work that needs to be done in a really short time to meet deadlines and whatnot, and to just, you know, make sure that the game ships in the best state as possible, but all this done in a really, like I said, short time span. And another reason that Kojima is respected as he is, outside of obviously his amazing IPs like Metal Gear and, you know, the Death Stranding series, is because he is 61 years old and he just does not let up on freaking game development. Like on his freaking Twitter page, you will just see him always working on something, always trying to do something. It's really inspiring for anyone that wants to take a gamble on themselves like Kojima did when he left Konami back in the day. So, you know, that's why people love him so much, and that's why I like him. But he claims that, you know, this period of his life is really demanding, and he even questioned later just how much longer he thinks he'll be able to stay in a creative state. Now, right now, I think Kojima has 3 big games that he's working on, and one of those is obviously Death Stranding 2, which is probably the most anticipated out of these releases. A new IP that's been in collaboration with Jordan Peele, OD, which I'm looking forward to. It's supposed to be like some sort of psychological horror, and the new Phison, I don't know how to say it. But yeah, man, all the biggest figures in this industry that's made the most impactful games of, you know, the whole genre, they're getting up there in age. You know, think about Miyamoto, obviously Kojima. To be fair, 61 is not an old age in my opinion. I honestly think like 75 is really old, but that's just me. But, you know, the fact that he's even, you know, still trying to be creative and, you know, deal with all these amazing IPs and trying to keep his fans happy, that is just amazing. So whatever he decides to do, even if he, you know, maybe retires early and just leaves it in the hands of his studio, you know, he's done more than enough for me, at least as a gamer. And lastly for today, I thought it'd be fun if we get this dumbass game out of my face. I thought it'd be fun if we started a new spin-off series of like the Shopping With Me Shorts videos, to where I show you what's on my wish list. Now, right now, I only got 10 things, and I just want to talk about these games and why, you know, I decided to click a button and save them for later, and I may, or more than likely may not, just buy these games. Now, the first game that I got here is the to-be-announced title of War of the Worlds, based on the movie War of the Worlds. Now, back in the day, this freaking movie scared the living shit out of me. Like, this is when I really developed a fear for aliens. But the developer of this title, they've had like multiple premieres and like live streams, them showing off the multiplayer gameplay, and it plays out as you would expect a War of the Worlds game to play. Like, they have the alien probes that, you know, go down into the towns and search the houses for you. It is so sick to look at, and I really want to, you know, experience this as a video game, because hopefully we don't ever experience this in real life. Moving on, I got Sonic X Shadow Generations, obviously. Now, the only reason I haven't like pulled the trigger on this title, because it's been on sale before. Sonic, I gotta play in, I can only play like a Sonic game once a year, to be honest with you. Like, I'm not a platformer gamer, at least in this day and age. Like, I try to stay away from it because I get really easily mad over these kinds of games. But, you know, whenever I get a chance, I'll play this title. Then I have Hunter x Hunter Nen Impact. Now, I've been seeing some really interesting takes on the early playtesters of this title. Mostly like the big thing is the fact that there's not that many not that many characters in this game. Like Hunter x Hunter, at least the 2011 remake anime, there aren't that many characters that you can make out of in a video game that would be interesting to play as. Like obviously the main cast is cool and all, and I would love to kick ass with Miriam online and whatnot, but I just want to see, what this title turns out to be whenever it releases, and especially what the price point is, because if it's anything over realistically like 40 bones, I might be good. Then I got Squirrel with the gun. Self-explanatory. Then we have what people are claiming to be the Sims franchise killer, being Enzoi. Now, I got to play the early character creator and it was pretty intuitive. I made a character that looks like me, but I'm really just interested to see how this title really plays out, because apparently, like you see here, you can drive, something that you couldn't have done in a Sims game for the last Sims 4 came out in 2014, so 11 years of that game, you still cannot have a car. You can walk around, just a basic life sim that's supposed to push the whole life sim genre, since the sim has had a freaking monopoly on it for the last couple of decades. So I'm just really hoping that this game is as good as it seems. Then I got Class of 09, the flip side. Now, I've played Class of 09. Don't let this fool you. Okay? Don't let this fool you. I'm not a gooner like that. The original Class of 09 was a dark humor, funny sitcom interactive story that I actually enjoyed playing for like 2 hours. So they announced another game, Class of 09 flip side, with the second character in the series, 𝐂𝐀𝐒. And the only reason that I didn't buy this game is because of the mixed reviews that it's been getting. Like people are saying that this title takes a little bit more like in a serious level. Like the last game was like satire, dark humor, like funny, but they say that this game is a little bit more different. Deadlock, obviously, Valve's next MOBA shooter that they haven't released yet, but people that have an invite can invite other players, and nobody's invited me, so I feel left out. Pantheon Rise of Fallen. Now, this title is supposed to be like a new MMORPG. I've heard that there's like a really steep difficulty curve in this game. Like nothing is handed to you. There's not even a map, I've heard. But I've been watching a lot of Ashes of Creation videos, so that's why I just wanted to get into the MMORPG scene, and this is a new MMORPG that I kind of look interested in a little bit. And then these last two, I'm not even gonna go over all like that, because I've just seen them in like random gameplay trailers, and I just thought they looked interesting. One Project is endless shooter roguelike type of thing, and Internal Strands is an action adventure, third person and whatnot. And that's all I got for today, man. If you enjoyed, leave a like on the video, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.